Welcome to the Eonics podcast, a podcast about software development, freelancing, new ways of working, and all other kinds of interesting stuff. This is the first time we have a podcast in English.
Yeah, glad to be the first one that
exactly. Does this. It's my very special guest, Robert. Robert Minea, is that the correct way to pronounce it?
Yeah, the way that you pronounce it is actually Robert Minea, but I'm not going to torture you with those details, yeah.
Okay, so maybe then the first question is, where are you from? Maybe a little bit of personal background?
Yeah, of course, why not? So my name is Robert Minea, don't try to pronounce my name. I'm from Romania. I came here to study in the Netherlands when I was 18 years old. I wanted to get to a better university, I would say, and I chose Delft in the end. I started studying there, studied there for 3 years, got my bachelor. Also, close to the end of my studies, I also had a very strange phase in which I also wanted to do some physics. I also had a minor in modern physics. That was quite interesting stuff, I would say. Also, it made it a bit harder to work because also during my last year of studies, I also had a time in which I worked as a student here. So during the last year, I also worked besides my studies. It was quite nice, and I decided to continue. I thought that pursuing a master isn't something that goes in line with my goals in general. I would say only if you pursue an academic career, pursuing a master is a good idea. But otherwise, if you want to have a business of your own, or if you want to start some projects or do some other kinds of nerdy things and customize them, then I would say the master is not the best of ideas. I continued working. There's 2 years now. I've been working at NIXZ to automate things. Went up the ladder slowly. And currently I lead the team and the efforts to get us as big as possible.
Yeah, I would say you climbed the ladder rather quickly. You're basically kind of the lead developer, I would say, right? Is that the correct way to say it?
Yeah.
And so today we're talking a little bit about NIXZ and what it is exactly. So maybe you can introduce the product, like what is behind it.
I can also, I'm going to make a small introduction of the company and probably also explain the terms. So NIXZ or NIXZ RPA Solutions, it's pretty much NIXZ Robotic Process Automation Solutions. It kind of speaks for itself. What we try to do there is to create products and to facilitate automation to our customers. So they usually come with projects that they want automated because they don't want to do those trivial tasks manually again and again. So we create bots or scripts that do those tasks again and again for them, such that they don't have to, and then they can focus on their core business problems, I would say. Our portfolio is quite diverse, I would say. Besides general projects, we also do some products. We have a plugin for LinkedIn that we use to easily scrape candidates. We also offer Task Connect, which is again another product that many recruitment agencies use to extract vacancies online whenever they get posted, such that they don't have to look all day for them. And some other products. But what we do is that we try to automate as many things as possible, and we're kind of searching for the niches in which people spend too much time doing those tasks. And in the end, we try to get those tasks to be done by machines such that they can focus, as I said, on their core business problems.
Right. So what I hear is two things. It's a lot in the recruitment sector. Mm-hmm. And basically what you're describing sounds to me like web scraping. So you go to websites, you extract data in a smart way. So people don't have to do that manually.
Exactly. So that can be done multiple ways. It cannot either be done by web scraping through browser actions. So you can actually have a browser that opens itself and does all those tasks automatically. Usually we do those with websites that do not provide an API or an application programming interface. They might either be old, or the developers didn't probably think to offer their data in an easy format. They just wanted to provide a website. So what we do is that we can pretty much imitate users' interaction with a website and extract the data. So that's one way of doing things. Or if the data is easily accessible, we can make this easier for the businesses to extract them only by doing web requests. So it depends on the task, usually, I would say.
And we're having this interview because you're also doing a hack night on this very topic. So then people also get an insight into how the stuff works behind the scenes. So maybe you can explain a little bit about that, like the technology we're using.
Yes, I would like to teach people and show them how easy it actually is to automate this kind of behavior. I also have a workshop in mind for this evening. I plan on having people extract some movies online and their duration. It's kind of a practical thing. Maybe you want to be up to date with what kind of movies are in the cinema, or you want to be up to date with your feed. So I'm pretty much going to show them the tools that we use. We mainly work with Protractor and Chrome driver to control the behavior of the Chrome tab.
What is Protractor?
Protractor is a tool that uses this Chrome driver that I'm explaining. You will also see in the evening. This Protractor is actually used in web testing in general, in testing the graphical user interface.
Right.
So in general, developers make a website and they want to make sure that all the buttons work as they're supposed to. So what they do is that they write test cases for those, and they start this Protractor tests that automatically go and press on all the buttons. But we kind of found another use case for this tool, and we are using it to automate behavior instead of testing. So it can be used in multiple ways, and this is the way that we are using it.
So is it like basically starting up an automated browser and then pretending to be a person that clicks on certain buttons or reads certain information?
Exactly that, because what happens in a browser, there are some specific pre-programmed functions that happen whenever, let's say, you press the button or you move your mouse, and we imitate those things. So we do exactly the same commands that are embedded into the browser, only that we do it programmatically, we say, so through instructions. And then the browser does exactly what a user would do, basically.
So how do you... but you still have to tell the program what to do exactly, and that also depends a lot on the website, I imagine.
Yes.
So how does that work?
So what we do basically is first we take a look at the website structure. I guess almost everyone around knows that websites are structured using HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's a language that is used to structure the web page, and it is kind of structured. You can represent it as a tree. So we can say exactly where in that tree an element is going to be found. So let's say we know the place where a certain set button will be placed. So we know that it will be placed somewhere in the tree. We know that place using a certain locator that I'm going to show you tonight. And that's quite easy to extract. I'm also going to show you how to use the developer tools in Chrome. And then by knowing exactly where it is in this tree structure, you can click on it. And you can just tell the browser to hover over the button and then click on it.
And is there a specific language or tooling that you write these kind of scripts in?
Yes, so it depends. It can be done in multiple. We do it in multiple ways at NIXZ. We started using CoffeeScript and TestX. Those are the two tools that we use. CoffeeScript is just language variant of JavaScript.
Okay.
It compiles into JavaScript in the end. But we decided to switch to TypeScript because at least in my opinion and in the team's opinion, it is much easier to use. It looks a lot more like other programming languages. It is a lot easier to debug. So we decided in the end to switch. But for this night, I decided to stay with CoffeeScript because it is easier to understand, although harder to debug. But it being easier to understand, I decided to stick with it. And tonight, I want to teach you how to make some keywords, we say. So the certain keywords are functions that we create that do certain specific things. Like we have a keyword named goto that just goes to a website, or a keyword that is named set, which basically sets a field or clicks on a button because it sets a button. So we create those keywords and then we reuse them. Those keywords are made in this framework named TestX, and then we just reuse them. We make them when we need them, and then we use them.
So you can write an action once and use it in multiple different scenarios.
Exactly. You can either do that, or you can use the predefined ones. So there's already a set of predefined instructions that can be used, which come with TestX. although they are a bit limited in scope. So in the end, you will end up having to write your own. But that's for the best, because then you can do more complex actions in the website. And in many cases, I would say the websites get maybe so complex that you will have to write those keywords yourself.
So is it the same as, like, how do you approach? Because I imagine for your work, the scripts can get quite complicated. Is there like a specific way of working, like how do you say that, like a best practice for developing these kind of scraping scripts that you have discovered?
I would say that the best practice is to first take a look at the library, at what functions and what tools you already have, to see if there's someone else that already made the function for that.
So but aren't those functions very specific for specific websites?
No, they're not, because you can extract, as I said, you can extract the structure of the website and just give the location to a set. So as I said, let's go for an example. You have the set function, right? Okay. That set function is not made specifically for a website. It's made to just click.
Ah, I see.
Yes. So it just clicks, but then you have to tell it exactly where to click.
Right.
So you reuse that function, that sets, and you reuse it by giving it the location where it needs to set or to click, and then it just clicks exactly there. By its own, it's dumb, but when you have a human that also specifies where it should click or where it should go to, then it becomes, you can generalize it and you can use it in many other scenarios. And I would say, like with any library or a framework, there's first a reading phase in which you have to read and see which functions you have, which keywords are already available, because others might have done them, and they might have done them in an efficient way. So it's best not to try and reinvent the wheel. Use what is already at hand. And if there's nothing available, I would say that you'll have to create it yourself, and to think in the future by thinking, well, I'm going to write this function and I would like to make it generic such that everyone can use it. Not only me for this specific website. I want this function to be able to serve the purpose of any programmer that will use me for multiple functions.
So it's like with normal programming, let's say, in the sense that you try to produce code that is reusable in a sense.
Yes. So that is exactly it. You create functions, and then it depends on the context. As you create functions in Java, they have certain inputs and an output. You have, let's say, a sort array. The sort function, that sorts an array. It won't sort only one array because it will be useless. You'll have to write an infinite number of sorts. You'll have to create a sort function that will be able to sort all the arrays that exist. Well, that's the best case, and it's not extremely hard to do, but that is what you should have in mind when you write a function. You should write a function that can be used in a general scenario, and that doesn't only fit one purpose, because then the whole idea of creating functions won't make sense. You will just create scripts. And that's
in a real life scenario, the scripts are a combination of all these pre-built functions and a bit of custom code that is specific for that specific website or use case.
Yes. There are times in which, the websites are very specific. So you might have to write a function which does a very specific thing, but I would say this case is quite rare.
Okay.
Usually, websites are quite straightforward, and using the same keywords, you'll be able to navigate them and extract the information that you are interested in, given that you have functions which are properly written.
Okay, and so it seems like a very powerful approach to getting all these data from these websites, but I imagine there are also maybe certain limitations or situations where this is not the best applicable tool. Maybe you can say something about this?
Yeah, there are websites that restrict users from going automatically executing some behavior. That's why they use CAPTCHA, for example, CAPTCHA, which
to see if you're a robot.
See if you're a robot. Well, we live in a time in which there are certain plugins that allow you to outsource this problem either to algorithms or to humans, which are helped by algorithms. So even that can be automated or semi-automated. Because in the end, it's a battle between the ones that try to crack the code and the ones that create codes. So this will always be the case. And the same thing with CAPTCHAs or systems that detect bots. You can create certain types of security measures to prevent them, but then there's always going to be other people that will try to find solutions into avoiding those security checks that are placed. But one certain example is this CAPTCHA, and what we can do is to just get a plugin that solves CAPTCHAs. So
so that's also solvable.
So that's also solvable in the It's it is quite a debate to say if any problem in this world is solvable, but I would say that it's not that far-fetched to say that most of them are.
Right. And now we talked about like building this stuff. So imagine you build your fancy scraper that gets all the movies and puts them in a nice database. Mm-hmm. Does this whole framework also allow for like running in Docker or in the cloud, or like how does that part work?
Yes. So generally you can do whatever you want with Docker. Docker, what it does is that you create a certain virtual environment in which you run your codes, you run your script. It's called Dockerizing the script. So we get the scripts that we already have, and if you want to deploy them to another server that runs them automatically, we Dockerize them, we make them into images that can just be started by the Docker environment, and then they can be run at any time on any machine that runs Docker. So that's how we deploy them. That's how we deploy the scripts. We have certain servers that we call bot farms that have all the images of all the scripts. And when they get the signal that, hey, you have to run this script because you have to extract this data from a specific website, they say, okay, I have to start creating a container, it's called, from the image, and then I have to run it. And then it runs the script for, I don't know, 5 seconds. It depends on how much it takes to extract the data. It closes it, and then it waits for the next instruction. It waits for the central system to say when it has to start executing that script again. But this can also be limited to only one case. Let's say you only have your personal computer. You don't have 10,000 servers to execute so many scripts. You just want to do it at home. You can just have, it's called the cron job on your operating system.
Right.
It is basically just executing one instruction, and that instruction can be exactly the instruction that runs your script. So you can have it run every half an hour or every minute, every second if you like. So
this type of solution can kind of scale from like we do it in the Hack Night, like a small example for your personal use. Yes. And then using Docker, you can kind of scale up the solution and create like a real bot farm as you use in your product.
Yes, that is exactly it. And then you just automate whatever problem comes your way, I would say.
Okay, so for the people that are listening and are interested to try this stuff out themselves, I will put a link to our website where you can also find Robert's presentation with all the information, so you can take a look yourself. Is there anything we didn't talk about or that you wanted to share, maybe?
We talked about how it works, what we do at NIXZ. I would say that is pretty much it. I just want to showcase the tools that we use, how we use them, and how people can use them too in their day-to-day lives, because it makes things easier. You can just focus on something else while the computer does
the work for you.
Yeah, that's what it's been invented for, right?
Right. Thank you very much for these insights, and hopefully maybe we'll see you again in a future podcast.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe you can find some interesting topics, and then we can have a small debate or a philosophical talk about it.
For sure. Thank you very much for that.
Also, thank you very much, Marcus.
Bye-bye.